Indonesian Pavilion, we still have another one session. So I would like to invite you all to join inside of Indonesia Pavilion and
Next,
please
back.
have a seat.
Toh, ini
Thank you.
laser.
So, ladies and gentlemen, for the materials or the presentations of each session, and also the details of the agenda, you can please check on our website indonesiaunsCCC.com. And also, we would like to inform you that tomorrow we will begin at 8:30 a.m. in the morning because we will have a special session because Al Gore will be on our pavilion. So those of you who don't want to miss Al Gore in our session, we would like to invite you to join our session at 8:30 a.m. Once again, for all delegates, participants, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to invite you to join our sixth session with the title of Smart and Innovative Society Actions in Climate Change. Please come inside our Indonesia Pavilion and have a seat. Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we will begin our session. So without further delay, I would like to invite the moderator of this session, Bapak Firdaus Manti. So for Bapak Firdaus Manti, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. In this session, the theme of the smart and innovative society action in climate change, we have three presenters here. The first one is Dr. Ridwan Jamaluddin, Deputy Minister for Infrastructure, Coordinating Ministry for Maritime Affairs and Investment. Please, Pak Ridwan. And the second is Dr. Karnini Syahrir, Senior Advisor to Coordinating Minister for Maritime Affairs and Investment for Climate Change. Silakan Bu Kartini. And the next, Dr. Tukul Romiadi. Okay, other delegation, please come inside to hear and discuss about the smart and innovative society action in climate change. We will start soon the session. Okay, the first session is, the presenter is Bapak Dr. Ridwan Jamaluddin, Deputy Minister for Infrastructure, Coordinating Ministry for Maritime Affairs and Investment. And with the title, Reducing Pollution by Promoting Electric Vehicle and Distributing Industrial Activities in Indonesia. Please, Bapak Ridwan Jamaluddin, time is yours.
Thank you, moderator. Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues and friends, I would like to share some of the real action Indonesian government has been taking in the context of reducing possible negative impacts to the climate in Indonesia. Actions are normally small, very specific, but they are real. So my topics will cover two aspects, electric vehicle and industrial activities in Indonesia. Why electric vehicles? If I may share with you, I forgot to mention the source of the picture I'm using. I used this from an NGO in Indonesia, KPBB. In fact, I have to admit that Indonesia ranks number 11 as the most polluted country in 2018. But for sure, it's not all over Indonesia. Specifically, it's in Java. Most specifically, it's West Java in Jakarta. You can see the map here. In Jakarta area is totally red area. And if we look at the contributing factors, number one is transportation, and number two is industries. So that's why I'm talking about electric vehicle, because of that concentration. Again, I borrowed this map from KPBB and the other map from social media. If you look at the map on the right-hand side, it's clear that the pollution in Jakarta follows where the traffics are. So the dark red colors indicate very high pollution that totally in line with where the transportation activities are. Second is an annual ritual in Indonesia, the Idul Fitri, the big day, the Muslim big day, before and after Lebaran, approximately 2 to 2.5 million people move out from Jakarta. So before and after the big event, you can see the difference of atmosphere in Jakarta. You can see clear sky. When Jakarta, the population in Jakarta is less than 10 million, maybe 8, 9 million. And the top one, when the population in Jakarta is approximately 12 million people. This figure also indicates that car sales in Indonesia is mostly in Java, 69%. So it's a good indication of economic growth, but not so good if you consider that as an important source of pollution in Indonesia. So again, if we look at this number, the western part of Java, Jakarta, and West Java province contribute significantly to the car in Indonesia. Again, in this context, I would like to balance the value of industries, economic growth, and as opposed to the effort to mitigate climate change. If you look at from the positive side, the car sales from a business perspective is very high in Indonesia. Almost the highest, it's the highest growth in ASEAN countries, and with a very large potential, meaning that there will be more and more cars in Indonesia. Good from industrial and economic perspective, not so good and environmental perspective. These two graphs, again, showing that motorcycle, the previous one was car, and this one is motorcycle. Sales in Java is still growing. The fuel they use in motorcycle is not a very good quality of fuel. So again, it's another topic that we have some concern in Indonesia. Another topic, another issue that also generated the use of motorcycle as well as cars in Indonesia is the new online businesses. On one hand, it's good that we thought that there will be less and less traffic because people don't have to travel to get goods, to get things, to buy, to do shopping. But as a matter of fact, it generates more and more traffic. There are more transportation activities because of online businesses in Indonesia, mostly in big cities. Fuel consumption is getting higher and higher. Motorcycle and passenger cars contribute almost most of those fuel consumption in Indonesia. That's on one hand. On the other hand, sea transportation and some other transportation modes also contribute, but less significantly. And with that, Indonesian government has decided to issue a presidential decree number 55/2019 to convert the conventional internal combustion engine vehicle to electric vehicle. And electric, in this context, is battery electric vehicles. Not hybrid, not plug-in hybrid, but it's battery-based electric vehicle. On one hand, because we know that battery, since it's battery, use no fuel, so zero emission. And also on the other hand, we combine it with the economic benefit for Indonesia, where we have significant enough of material to produce lithium battery for power utilization. So again, to reduce private transport in Indonesia, we promote more and more public transport. Indonesia, Jakarta's MRT is among the best MRT in I should say in the world now. It has been in operation since 6-7 months ago. It's a very good one. LRT, covering Jakarta and suburbs, will be in operation in 2021, I mean. And there are also more electric motorbikes provided in Indonesia. Government, in this context, promotes campaigns to build awareness among the population. So when we discuss about electric vehicle in Indonesia, we always use these three aspects. Number one, of course, environment, to reduce emission. And the second, the benefit, the economic benefit, where we are now part of the oil importers. Third is to rebuild Indonesian industrialization to create Indonesia as part of the global supply chains and automotive industry. Sorry. This figure is just to show you that in Indonesia we have materials, nickel, cobalt, manganese, important components of lithium battery that can be used for electric vehicles. So because of that, Indonesia is now promoting value addition to the mineral resources, not to sell them as a raw material, but to produce material for battery, and then later on we are going to produce electric battery in Indonesia. So overall, in almost most aspects, electric vehicle is better than traditional internal combustion engine. Cost-wise, electric vehicle costs you like one third to one fourth of internal combustion engine vehicle, and emission-wise, it's produced less and less. Again, in the case of battery electric vehicle, the emission is zero because there is no fuel consumption. The only issue is now that the battery electric vehicle is almost double of the price of the internal combustion engine. So this is the most critical issue. I would like to share this with most of the automotive producers. Let's do anything we can to lower the price, not to benefit the companies, the industries alone, but also to consider the long-term impact of automotive industry. So we realize that the cost is almost double, 1.8 of the conventional vehicle, but we have to work together to reduce the cost so that more and more people can afford to buy electric vehicle, not to spend so much money in buying internal combustion engine vehicle. This is the issue in Indonesia. On one hand, the government is promoting battery electric vehicle, but on the other hand, the players in this business do not really like the idea. They try to be a little bit defensive, but we have to work together to do both. Not to kill them as business players, but we also have to work together to build awareness, build the value of future benefit, not only current economic benefits of the automotive industries. Government work very hard, working with state-owned enterprises as well as private sectors to provide supporting infrastructure, including charging station. There are more and more charging stations being built in Jakarta and other big cities in Indonesia. Bali is a good example. Bali has been voluntarily proclaiming themselves to be one location as a pilot location for this clean vehicle. Incentive, there's so many incentives provided, fiscal and non-fiscal industries, fiscal and non-fiscal incentive, including research and development, using of local manufacturers, and some other incentive provided by the government. We can go through all this incentive one by one. There's so much detail in the presidential regulation. Second, allow me to talk briefly about the industrialization. So if you look at this map again, the issue now is that the industries in Indonesia is pretty much centered in West Java area. So that's the issue. Now the government is promoting more industrial activities outside Java, promoting more and more development outside Java. So that the idea is to bring industries to build the facilities in other islands of in Indonesia. Again, if we look at the investment, last year's investment by sector, they're still in the electricity, gas, power. Now what we have to do is to again balance these investment activities with a more environmental friendly consideration. For example, we are proposing at least 30 projects open for international cooperation in North Sumatra, North Kalimantan, North Sulawesi and Bali. Again, this effort is showing that we are promoting more and more industrial activities outside Java. In almost every presentation in government, specifically by our ministry, number one criteria is high environmental standard technology. So it's always there. So we know that we need to build the economy, to grow the economy, but we always put the high environmental standard as one of the most important criteria. I would like to conclude my presentation by showing this. This is not in Indonesia, this is in China. This is right one day before President Xi Jinping made his speech on COP21, and one day after. I took these photos myself from the same hotel window. You can see on the left side, one day before his speech, the right hand side photo is one day after. So leadership is very important in promoting these environmental-friendly activities. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bapak Ridwan. The next presenter is Ibu Dr. Kartini Syahrir. She is now a senior advisor to the coordinating minister for maritime affairs and investment for climate change. Time is yours, Ibu.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. It's a very interesting presentation of Dr. Jamaluddin. And I hope that women will lead to drive the electric vehicles, even though it is a bit expensive. But as the slogan said, women first. Thank you. Smart and innovative. What is it called? Smart, innovative. What is it? Smart and innovative society, something like that, for the climate change. And we would like to see how smart and innovative the women to be. 2 months ago, October 2019, in Vatican, I invited to speech on women empowerment. There are 3 areas to elaborate. First, homo intellectuals. Second, homo economics. And the third, it's my part, homo vulnerabilis. And that's women, vulnerable. And to me, that's the first time I heard Vatican is always smart in that, for the term, homo vulnerabilis. As far as I understand, as an anthropologist, it's homo sapien, not homo. I like to share with you, from the perspective of Indonesia, even though that we are quite advanced on empowering women, still there is a lots of things has to do. Because when you talk about empowering women, it's all depend how the people, how the society encourage, how the society empower themselves, and not only that, no less important, how the state react to the women empowerment. And we are very lucky that our government, our state, from the last 40 years, aware that they have to empower women. Indonesia is known as the Ibu Pertiwi, the mother of earth, the womb of women. So that's why women's issue always part of our daily life. We digest it every day. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I would like to share with you about the women in Indonesia. I would like to see the life of women in the coastal area. And the title of my presentation about women, local wisdom, and food security, the 3 pillars integrate to each other, and why. As you will see, let me explain briefly to you. Since women access to loan, to education, to training, to health, everything, you name it, then they rely much of their activity as the breadwinner of the family through local wisdom that they inherit from generation to generation. Yeah. And one thing I need to note here, when we talk about local wisdom, never ever thought that it is not scientific. It is scientific by itself. Yeah. So, therefore, even if they don't get an access to loan, get less access for health facilities, still these women, the homo vulnerabilis, they are yet powerful. Let me share with you the presentation. Next, please. Oh, which one? Okay. I always left behind. This is geographical condition of Indonesia. You can read this, and you can see that 30% of the women of Indonesia live in the coastal area. And we have a second longest coastline in the world. And beforehand, the presentation of mangrove, I can show you how women participate in the mangrove activity to be the breadwinner of the family and the community that they live. Next. Oh, that's me. This is the food security, about food security. You can see this. About the knowledge of local wisdom. This is the way that they ensure food supply for their household as well as for their community. Of course, food security, if you are hungry, yeah, you cannot think smoothly, you cannot think smart. You lost your innovation, yeah. Hungry is a very basic needs. You need food, yeah. You need something to digest in your stomach, and women ensure that you have it. Oops, sorry. There is some local wisdom management that we call local wisdom coastal management, you see. There are some of this local wisdom managed that already been the government, local government support them. But there are some that they have to do it by themselves without the support of the local government. There are also some, they got the support from their own community. But from this point that I mentioned to you, the fact is local wisdom is part as part of their activity. You see here from the picture, you know, how active they are. But since they are women, their activity embedded to the household activities, so never been accounted into the official work. So no matter how good and how important their contribution is, it is only part of the household task. Isn't that fantastic? Isn't that vulnerable? Yes. Is that powerful? Yes. We always live in the contrast. So, we are talking about creativity as a human being, as a man, as a woman. And women is very creative because they have no option. Maybe if men give, you know, the position as women, maybe they are more creative. Don't feel offended with my comment. So you see the way that women use the mangrove. They can come with snack, they can come produce batik, they can use, you know, whatever. You can see, and is very interesting is that the woman that I saw in some part of the northern coast of Java is they are able to have what it is called ecotourism. The ecotourism is they rehabilitate, they restore the mangrove because they do understand when they make it, the mangrove looks better, not only can produce the food, but it also can invite people to spend their time there, meaning you have extra income coming. This is what happened. As simple as that, as easy as that, and I found out there are 60 women, the community of 60 women, they are able to replant mangrove for 60 hectares. And if you ask what kind of technology that they use, it's very simple. The answer is we learn it from our parents, from our ancestors, from our grandparents. I think we have the same experience too. It is not something exclusively, for us. We have this kind of stuff in our daily life. See, I see. This is the facts findings about women and food security. Yes, I think we all agree that empower women is an ongoing process. Yeah. I must say something about women. Women itself can ridicule themselves. Yeah. Women themselves, to a certain extent, ridicule other women. Not because that you women, you understand about your obligation, your right, your position. You need also to learn from your surrounding. You learn about yourself, how you participate, how you share your time with your community, and usually you start with your nuclear family. When I said nuclear family, is a basic family. Not because you are in a position as an executive, at the judicative, legislative, that you do understand how you empower women. It does not automatically happen. Yeah. So this kind to change the mentality takes time, but we know that the time is not always with us, so we have to accelerate that. I mentioned about women have less access to technology, education, training, access to loan, and health, And for that matter, we need again and again to remind our counterpart, since Indonesia participates in the Paris Agreement, and SDGs target should strengthen gender consideration. Have to be gender sensitive budgeting, for example. We need that. We need to remind again and again. It is not something that we can take for granted. This is our problem. And we can see that women, including also youth, can play a very significant role to face the climate change. Again, I give you to show you how hard they work. They don't ask much facilities, but they know they have to survive, they have to think their family, their community. And see, below is about the way they're taking care of mangrove and make it an ecotourism. And this is the conclusion. ladies and gentlemen, have you ever thought, if you don't have food security, if you don't have enough food in your stomach, how could you keep harmonious life in your own social surrounding? War can happen, social conflict can occur anytime. If you are hungry, if you don't have anything with you, why you taken for granted, for example, about women's role, about their participation for the family, the basic one, to make sure that the children, the husband, the brother, and the other member of the family having food enough. The story that I share about Indonesia, about the women in the coastal area, you might have the same experience too. We can exchange information, we can collaborate together about how do we go hand in hand together here. Yeah. And we meet here every year. And if last year in Poland, Katowice, we said time for change, then the question is, must we change? I quote Al Gore said, yes, we must. Will we change? Yes, we will. Can we change? Yes, we can. We must, we can, we will. Otherwise, we will not hear to say time for action. We will lose it. There is no time anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Muchísimas gracias. Terima kasih.
Thank you, Dr. Kartini, Ibu Kartini, for the presentation. For the last presentation is the Dr. Tukul Remiadi. He is the Executive Advisor to the Coordinating Minister for Maritime Affairs and Investment. He is also the President of Indonesian Marine and Fisheries Socioeconomic, IMFISERN, and a socio-ecologist. He will give the presentation about the smart and innovative climate action, empowering small-scale sea salt industry in Indonesia. Time is yours, Pak.
Thank you very much. Since I have a lot of time, so I hope you enjoy more my presentation. So this is another story from Indonesia. The story about salt. Sorry, no more mangrove for this afternoon. Sometimes it's very often Indonesian people says that life does not taste good without salt. Is that true? And some scientists also believe that some civilization was built with salt. The history of salt, particularly small-scale sea salt industry, the salt production was done by community, local people. It's quite very long time ago. It was recorded at the Borobudur temple relief since 7th century. There was people salt production made. And also, it was written on the one of our epigram in 13th century about small scale or community, local people based salt sea salt production. However, the general process of the traditional sea salt production was never changed since that time, or maybe slightly changed for that time. So usually the general process is just like we take seawater and then put sometimes in the pond, and we make more salinity by evaporation using a solar radiation, and then when enough salinity, then we send the water with a very high salinity to the another pond. We call it a crystallization table to make a salt, and then we harvest the salt. And by heritage, all our demand was was met by small scale industrial salt, mainly for cooking, for food, to make a better taste, and very small for other applications such as healthy medicine, as well as beauty and body treatment. But now, when we have our industry growing very fast, salt become more and more demanded by industrial for many application such as pharmacy, in chemical industry, water treatment, food, and many others like oil exploration and exploitation also need some salt. The problem is this industrial specification of salt is quite high, and the salt made by traditional or local people will not fit with the requirement of the industry. So this is the map showing that the location of small-scale salt center or area spread out around Indonesia, except eastern of Indonesia. How about the climate change impact to the sea salt production? You know, salt production by community basically very much depending on solar radiation as well as humidity. And they make salt in open area. So when, that's why they only can make salt probably only 4 to 5 months in a year during a dry season. And the production totally stopped when during a raining season. Now the climate is more and more unpredictable. So sometimes in dry season we still have big rain that can destroy salt production or make not good quality of the salt. So now because the climate variability is more difficult to be understood, then the trend of small-scale salt production become lower and lower quality salt. that means they need to be refined before they use for industry or maybe for food. So the way to refine the salt, we need more and more energy, mainly from, and we need also from fuel. And right now we still use more fossil fuel to refine the salt to be ready for industry, make higher quality for cooking. That means there will be more carbon uh, released to the atmosphere. So most of you will not happy about that. You will say that this process is not climate friendly, isn't it? So what we have done to make a change, we have 4 actions. One is to introduce new technology and innovation to the community. This technology to make sure that the salt will be very high quality. That means, and also about the productivity 3 times bigger. So that means we do not need any further refining process. So we will cut energy and also fuel demand for that salt. And we try to introduce the tech innovation to uh, to be available for the people to make salt all the years. And another thing is there are some multi-products instead of salt. For example, drinking water. Using a PRISM methodology, we can not only produce salt, but also drinking water, still water, and many others like brine and bitter. All products also have quite high price compared with a salt price. So this is the first action that we have done. Another one is about the capacity building for the community. They don't need only a new technology, but also they need some capacity so that they don't only produce salt, but someday they can business at their own. So some capacity building also introduced to the community. Another action is also to focus on how to make an added value of salt. So there are now many applications or uses of salt instead of only for cooking or only for industry. Many. For example, gourmet salt, spice salt, for beauty and spa. So in case of Indonesia, because we have more than 1,000 ethnic group and with their language and culture, so this is we have very diverse of, we call it cultural salt or artisanal salt in Indonesia. Then this is also very potential for added value product generation. At the government level, we also introduced, we made some change on our policy. So we tried to make a national system of salt production, and government also introduced also promote stakeholder partnership so that salt industry has their own ecosystem that make business easily and very advantageous for all stakeholders. So there are four that we are already introduced. For the short-term impact, of course, we need to improve income and livelihood. Just for example, after capacity building, the community can manage their own to promote their, you may know about the geographical indication. After they got IG or GI, their market increase many times. So we need this become our short to income impact to improve income and livelihood. And of course, hopefully, with bigger and bigger area of the small-scale industry, we try to make a wide and significant impact around Indonesia. And also we promote all product from small-scale sea salt to link with our tourism. As you know that Indonesia now become a country that promote tourism as one of our center of growth of our economic, national economy. In the long run, small scale should include in our action on national program on salt self-sufficiency. So we will try to, in the long run, try to make more and more integrated salt production area that inclusively supported by community and also supported by, we call it innovation centers. Innovation centers that combine modern technology with our local knowledge, traditional knowledge. And hopefully we can use that all integrated area to support our national self-sufficient program in 2030. So this is another story. So if you talk about the Indonesian NDC, we also try to make climate resilience, particularly for the coastal community. So hopefully this small scale also include to build our community resilience, particularly in the coastal area. So as a summary, to make to decrease pressure to the environment and the climate, innovative technology is the key. And we do hope that what we are already introduced can make 3D benefit, social, economic, environmental, as well as political benefit that can support SDGs 2030. Terima kasih. Gracias. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Tukur Remedi, for the presentation. So before we close this session, maybe any comment and any question regarding this three presentations of this session, please. Ibu, others? Oke. Silakan, Bu.
Thank you very much. Ibu Kartini, I agree with what Dr. Kartini said about women empowerment in Indonesia already started since 40 years ago. This position make Indonesia more advanced compared to other developing countries. By the way, moving forward, we need to strengthen to clear target, especially relation to SDGs in for gender equal quality. And for Mr. Tukul, yeah, I appreciate your presentation. How do you ensure that the salt production would not be polluted by microplastic? Thank you very much.
Oke, please. Ibu Kartini.
Thank you, Professor Win. I cannot agree for more. And I hope that here the audience also agree with us. It's about that we need to empower women. We like to make women equal to men. With the term, every culture, every tradition have their own term about equality. So we have to consider the particularistic of the culture itself. But of course, yeah, to be equal as a partner, that is the one that we want to achieve with. And Indonesia, yes, we are advanced in the sense because for a long time that our government aware that they have to empower their women. That's why we have the Ministry of Women Affairs, the Ministry of Women Empowerment. And it's a strong ministry. And this ministry collaborate with other ministries as well, you know, with the Ministry of Finance, with the Ministry of Transportation, with the Ministry of Tourism, almost all ministries. So they can go together. That makes us to help and to support women, to make them better off, is relatively easier. Again and again, I'm not saying it is, that we solve the problem, it is something easy. No, it's easier, to do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Pak Tukul, please.
Thanks, Ibu, for the question. But honestly, I also don't know what, because right now we have very little or maybe zero knowledge of microplastic. So that's why Ibu Nani and also Pak Sahat start doing some study on microplastic. Hopefully not only for fish, but also for salt, to make sure that our salt doesn't contain microplastic. So hopefully the study will be doing very soon, and we will try to make a tracking for the microplastic, particularly to the salt production. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tukul, for the answer. Mungkin Ibu Nani, how about?
Yeah, I would like to add Yes, I think the research on the microplastic in salt is already published actually. So we cannot excuse. I mean, we cannot how to say protect because it's natural process. This is from the seawater. But I think in near future we need also to do such like research, maybe biotechnology, how to protect our body to be more what call it resistant or something like that. That we can yeah, this is part of the homework for the Ministry of the Health. Yeah, because they are now doing a research impact to the human health, but we can order one more. Um, yeah, what is the medicine for that? So this is, I think it should be, I mean, it may possible to do this. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rani, for the explanation. Okay, due to the time is now near the 5 p.m., I will close this session. Please give a big applause to our presenters here. Thank you very much for your coming. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you for all the speakers and moderator. There will be a photo session with all the speakers and the moderator. But before that, there are also the giving of token of appreciation that will be given by Bapak Nur Adiwardoyo on behalf of the Minister of Okay, thank you for all the speakers and moderator. And for ladies and gentlemen, we'll still have the last session with the title of Archipelagic and Island States Forum, Blue Economy and Tourism. We will begin around 10 minutes from now. Therefore, we would like to invite all delegates, participants who are still out on the outside of Pavilion to join us and come inside our pavilion and please have a seat.